Alright, so your students have asked a bunch of questions, they've gotten a good idea of what the task is all about and what the challenge at hand is. Now it's time to move on to the imagine stage, which is all about them working together to brainstorm ideas and then choosing a best path forward, a solution to the problem at hand. Just some ideas to help you kind of guide this in the classroom. First off, let's talk about group size. And so, like I said, this is done in collaborative groups, and you don't want those groups to be more than 4 students. That just gets a bit unwieldy whenever you start this process. And in fact, we recommend the first time you do this, or the first time your kids have done this, is to really start off in partners, especially if you've got younger students as well. Partners allow them to kind of work out this process together in a smaller group and kind of understand the process a little bit easier to get started with. Another strategy that you can use is to start in whole group and move to small groups. In the video we're going to show you of a classroom example after this, that's exactly what Ms. Colazzo does. So for example, in the whole group setting, you would have all the kids together, they can brainstorm and pop off ideas all together, and then after that they've got some ideas going, then they move into their small groups at their seats and they hash out which solution that they're going to go with. Now in this stage we also recommend to teachers to allow students to feel the materials, to get an idea of the weight, the size, etc. Just to kind of feel what it feels like in their hands so that they can make a better plan in the next stage and really to better brainstorm ideas. They can't work with them and they can't create things yet, but they can get a sample material just to get their feel for it. It's really important, especially if you have students that may not have a lot of context outside of school, or they may be ELL students. It's always important to give them that hands-on, tactile feel for it so they can make a better plan in their head. Now, here's the most difficult part of this process. A lot of times, especially when you're starting early on, they need to come to consensus on a solution, on a plan of attack. And so a lot of times that's difficult for students, especially if they've just started this. You may have some strong personalities that want to do their ideas. They may have trouble collaborating, but that's the whole point of this process, is for them to get better and better at the process of working in a group to come up with an idea, a plan of attack that might work for them. Just some strategies to help through this. So things that we've done in the past, obviously you can do things like rock, paper, scissors, even and odds. If you're having a group that just can't decide together, they can kind of try this kind of strategy to kind of decide what is the plan we're going to go with today. Another thing that happens a lot is they'll merge their ideas into one, especially as they get better with this process. So they'll take the ideas from each student in the group and they'll somehow take them and put them together to make a whole plan that is a group plan. And that is the point. This has to be a group plan of attack. This is a great opportunity to build some real-world context, especially for all your students, but especially for any ELL students you have in your classroom, or students that need that vocabulary building. So for example, for the roller coaster example, I'll just kind of show it on this next page. If you're asking them to build roller coasters, show them roller coasters. Talk about what they look like. Talk about the structures, the curves that they can see. If they're building towers, talk about towers. Show them some real examples of towers. You may even show them a short video. So in this imagine stage, it's a really good time to build that content knowledge. Now, this is also where you want to make sure you're really clear about the constraints. So for the example we're going to see, you've got the constraints of the coaster must include at least 2 curves. The marble must make it from the start to the finish without any help, no pushing, and only using the materials given to you. And this is also the stage where you'll make sure they'll know exactly what materials they have to use. Last but not least, this is also a stage, you're not going to see it in this example, but this is a really great place to insert a budget. A great way to easily target math standards in the classroom. So for example, in these materials, cardboard tubes, craft sticks, tape, scissors, and a marble, you might have a budget. Each group gets $10, and each cardboard tube that you select is $1. Each craft stick might be a dime. Each 1 foot length of tape might be $1.50. And as part of their plan process here in the next step, they would have to outline exactly how much money they spent and how many materials they are able to receive. So that's the imagine stage, and let's take a quick look at how that looks like in a real classroom.